Hello and welcome to Where Women Talk. I'm Nadia Jordana. My guest today is author Barb Greenberg. She's the founder and CEO of Rediscovering You, and her new book, The Seasons of Divorce, are the two things we'll be talking with her about today. Let's go talk to Barb and see what we can learn. Welcome to the show, Barb.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here.
You know, you and I go way back, so this is a real treat for me.
It's a treat for me too.
Your new book is all about divorce. But before we get into the book, I'd like to hear about Rediscovering You because that's your business and that came out of divorce and transition. That's what that's all about. Tell us how that started and how your journey began.
Oh, thank you. I love this question. I am divorced after 33 years of marriage, and I felt very lost. I felt like I was drowning. And when I finally found myself on dry land, felt like I should pull other women who are also struggling back up on the shore with me. And so that's how it started. I did not realize I had a business at the beginning because my friend said, you need to start doing workshops to share your story and to give people great information. And I said, I'm an introvert. I don't want to do that. So it took a long time for me to realize I had a business, but the feedback is just wonderful. We help women at all levels, whether they know they need to leave, and they just want information, whether they're in the midst of their divorce and they're drowning, or if they're moving past divorce, but either there's still issues or they like the community we've created so much that they want to stay connected. Because our classes balance the nuts and bolts pieces, the financial person, the family law person, the realtor, the insurance person, things like that, with the more heartfelt. So there's classes on finding a vision for your new future. There's classes on loss. There's classes on healing. There's classes on healthy boundaries. There's classes on just you name it, we've got it. And we even had a class a few times on dating after divorce, and I thought no one would show up, and it was packed. So that's how we started. And it was from my writing that the books began.
Yeah, it was from, talk real briefly about your first three books.
My first book is called Hope Grew Round Me. And it's a story of how my daughter, my college-age daughter, had a life-threatening car accident. And as she fought to heal and regain her life, she inspired me. I realized I needed to do the same thing. So it's her healing with my realization that I need to heal and leave an unhealthy relationship. And I was surprised because I'd never written anything. Some people always knew they wanted to be writers. They were certain when they were a little girl. Not me. It took me to my 50s to start to write and realize, oh, I really like this. So I found something that I love to do in my 50s. How wonderful. So that was my first book. And then my second book came after my divorce when I was just really irritated with happily ever afters. Fairy tales, they kind of bothered me a little bit, the fairy tales. So I wrote a book called After the Ball. And it is a little fairy tale about Cinderella and Snow White later, when the prince turned out not to be so charming. But it's a sweet story because the girls, Cinderella and Snow White, they realized that if there's another prince, he doesn't have to rescue them because they already did that themselves. That was their job. Because bless his heart, even a wonderful prince can't do that for you. He can support you when you do that, but it's your internal job to do. And so it's a sweet story. When we were meeting in person, we would give a copy of the book to people the first time that they came to a class because it just covers a lot of territory in a really easy way to absorb it, short, pretty way to absorb it. So that was my first book. Second book, who knew?
I loved that book. I think is there one in between the book you have now?
No, and now this is my third book that just came out.
Okay, tell us about that.
Okay, this is my baby here. This is my third child. Here we go. Isn't it pretty? I love the cover. It's called The Seasons of Divorce, Insights for Women in Transition. I had to look at the cover. What happened was, because of my business, we do a newsletter every week, and every week I was asked to write a short article. And for years, a dear friend said, you need to put those articles into a book. You need to organize them and put them in a book. And I said, yeah, thank you. No. And then when the pandemic hit and you couldn't go anywhere, I was like, perfect timing. So I finished the book. I organized the articles, and they're short. And they go in seasons. So fall is when things in your life begin to fall apart, in your marriage, or in any transition, things fall apart, whatever the transition is. And winter is that dark time when you can't see that there's changes going on, but there is change. It's just under the ground, like under the snow in the dark where you don't see it. Spring is hope, and summer is like you can blossom again. And what's so interesting, what we did was, after each article, there are 3 questions that people can ask themselves. So it's like I'm having a conversation, the reader's having a conversation with me. And I have a friend who's been happily married, I bet 50 years. And she's called me a few times about this, going, I love your book. Every morning I read an article and I journal about it. I sit by the river and I journal about it, about that article. Then I've had people who are single, they've never been married. They say, I love this book. It resonates with me on so many levels of other things that have happened in my life, and finding my voice and becoming strong and realizing the strength, the power I have to make a difference for myself and others. And we even have a business women's virtual book club that's going to use it as one of their picks for this year, because we all have situations. Transition isn't just divorce, it's life.
Yeah, there are a lot of transitions. Excuse me. There are a lot of transitions that are traumatic, and big transitions, divorce, even deaths, all those things we have to work our way through, and the advice in your books help a lot with that.
Thank you.
Well, you've been in the media a little bit over the last several years. Tell us a couple of the highlights.
Oh, my favorite one, I'll tell you my favorite one. Rediscovering You was officially started I'm going to have the year wrong probably, but close enough, in September, I think 2013. I'm not the numbers girl. The following, and we hold weekly classes, so every week we have a different speaker. It might be a family law attorney or financial planner or a wellness person or a therapist or whatever, all sorts of options. The following December, the Minnesota Women's Press magazine named us as one of their change makers of the year for making a difference for women and their families, which was a thrill. That's my favorite one. That's my very favorite one.
I remember when that happened.
That was unexpected and very humbling.
And very exciting.
And very exciting, yes.
And well-deserved, I might add.
Thank you very much.
Well, I have a question. Do you have advice for, whatever your best advice is, whether it's for women who want to write about their story, or maybe even just women who are going through transition and you have some sage advice? What kind of advice do you have?
Oh, see if I can do both. Let's see. For women who are writing or want to write, it's never too late. I started in my 50s. And you have to be very comfortable with making mistakes, because beginnings are always messy. They're just always messy. Sometimes I sit on my bed and pretend I'm just writing a letter to a friend. So I don't feel like I have to write. It's not writing. I'm not sitting down to work. And I'm just, dear Peggy, I'm really stuck. I'm trying to say this, but I don't know what it means. And can you just help me? And then, and a page or two later, you go, oh, look there's a couple gems in there. Sometimes there aren't any, and that's okay too. But you have to be really comfortable making mistakes and trying again and doing it every day, which doesn't always work. I can't. People say, write at least 15 minutes every day. Like, so give yourself a break and be patient with yourself. If you can do that, great. If you can't do that, okay, that's right. Have a cookie, have a piece of chocolate cake, and relax. Go for a walk. Sometimes ideas come in the middle of the night, so I have that little notepad by my bed, that you wake up in the morning and you go, what does that say? I know it was a good idea. And for women transitioning through divorce, I think the biggest thing that we focus on is that you're not alone. You're stronger than you realize. You're braver than you realize. You have more power than you realize. And when you get through to the other side, you will have saved your life, as hard as it is. We had a woman once come to our class, and she was very teary. When we met in person, we had chocolate kisses and Kleenex on the table. So between the two, we were good. But she was very teary, and she said, I know I need to leave. It's a terrible situation. I don't know if I can do it. I don't think I can do it. I'm so scared. I don't think I can do it. The woman on the other side of the table from her was on the other side of her divorce. And she leaned across the table and patted this woman on her arm and said, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And sure enough, about a year went by, and the first woman said, oh my gosh, now I'm the woman on the other side of the table, patting the new person's arm and saying, you're going to be okay. So it's very powerful. It's very powerful to have women together at all different stages of this journey, supporting and healing each other.
Oh, that really is amazing. That makes so much sense to me. And I think that means a lot to the people who've worked with you. And I've certainly heard a lot about it. I really resonate with being comfortable making mistakes. You just have to roll past them. I really can appreciate that. Well, is there anything, before we go, we have about a minute left. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like to let the viewers know?
Oh my goodness. What can I say? Well, one of my favorite articles, this will help women in any situation, but one of my favorite articles in my book, there's a couple. One is macaroni and cheese and creative avoidance. So I'm all for creative avoidance when you need it, because I ate bowls of Kraft macaroni and cheese. They don't help, but they ease it for a little bit. But we had another one about beware of men in forests wearing tights. And it was about Prince Charming and how women need to be careful, be aware that a prince, if he's too charming, if a relationship goes too quickly, if they want to take you away from your home and your friends to the new palace, if they are always right, because after all, they are the prince. if you are running away with him because you're afraid to deal with your wicked stepmother or other issues in your life that are difficult. So I think that happens to all of us with situations where we'd rather distract ourselves over here than come back and face or explore. Face sounds too harsh, but explore what's driving us to do certain things. And to be honest with yourself in any transition, I've learned to, when I get scared, not to pretend I'm not scared, don't be scared. I go, oh my goodness, I'm scared. And then I talk to myself, my little girl, it's okay, I get it. And boy, it goes away. Those fears go away, the anger goes away, it eases. I remember one morning I woke up, I was super crabby. So for about 2 pages, I wrote, I'm crabby, crabby, crabby. I'm so crabby, crabby, crabby. And then it was gone. So that's another good thing for writers to do. If you're feeling an emotion that's stuck, just let it out on the paper, and you'll be amazed how much that helps you heal and can
Good
be
advice.
a support for somebody else too.
Really, really good advice. That makes so much sense. And I think our viewers will appreciate it. Thank you for being on the show today, Barb. This is wonderful.
It was a joy. Thank you, Nadia.
And thank you all for watching. We'll see you again next time with a brand new guest.